How's it going, guys? Cameron here's Canadian Gamer, coming at you with a little bit of a rant. Busted out the good camera today. Busted out the good camera. Beer of the day. La Bite et Tibi. Still rocking the Quebec welfare beer. Blonde Ale. Let's get started, shall we? So it's not going to be a long video. So, you know, as you guys are aware, this is the slow time of year for gaming. With the exception of Microsoft, because there's a slew of Xbox games coming down the pipeline over the next couple of months. And yeah, it doesn't seem to be a lot going on in PlayStation world these days, but there's a lot going on in Xbox world, let me tell you. Ho, ho, ho. But aside from that, obviously it's the slow time of year. There's nothing to talk about, and a lot of these YouTubers are grasping for straws. They've got nothing to talk about. A lot of these YouTubers, not all, a lot of them are obsessed with ad revenue and pushing content and pushing out shorts onto their viewers and selling products and promoting products and talking about bullshit. Anything they can do to get clicks. Oh, what's the latest? Oh my God, the Xbox 360 store is going down in a couple of weeks. Prices are going up through the roof right now on Xbox 360 titles. Everybody's talking about Xbox 360. Get these games while you can. Stop. 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 Okay, stop. Xbox 360 games are not going up in price. That is complete bullshit. These YouTubers that are selling you wolf tickets. The Xbox 360 has the same issue as the NES and the Super NES and the Sega Genesis. The games that are cheap will always be cheap. And then you've got those niche titles that have been expensive on the 360 and the PS3 for the last 6 or 7 years. Where have you been? Games like Red Dead Redemption, which is an amazing game. Obviously, it's even backwards compatible with the Xbox One and the Xbox Series console. You can find this game all day for $5 to $10. Okay, this is not going up in price. Stop creating a false narrative. Okay, this is not going up in price. Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 5. Okay. The Halo games, the Gears of War games, they're not going up in price. Okay, those games can be found all day for $5. The only games that are going up in price have already been expensive for a couple of years. We're talking about things like Splatterhouse, which is like $70 to $80 in Canada. Games like the Titus exclusive here, or at least it was at the time, I think. Maybe it came out on the PS3 as well at the same time. Catherine, which got a re-release a couple of years ago on modern consoles. Still, you're going to probably pay $20 or $30 for this out in the wild. Lollipop Chainsaw. Silent Hill Homecoming. Deadly Premonition. What else? I'm looking at my collection right now. Everything else you can pretty much pick up for $5 to $10. Test Drive Unlimited 2, you're going to pay probably $20 to $30 for that. Shadow of the Damned, you might have to pay $20, $30 for that, but that's getting a re-release on modern consoles if it hasn't already come out. So, yeah, you YouTubers that have nothing to talk about, that are trying to create this false narrative that Xbox 360 games are going up in price because the e-store is going down, that's a bunch of bullshit, and you know it. Like I said, take the NES as an example. Even to this day, the games are cheap on the Nintendo. It's the games that everybody wants that are expensive, and they've been expensive for a long time, okay? But for the most part, you could build an NES collection for a couple $100. Like, it's really not that difficult. And the 360, because I know, I game hunt, okay? Go to the fucking pawn shop. They can't get rid of those games. They don't want them there. It's like taking up space, like DVDs and Blu-rays. You can't even pawn off your DVDs and Blu-rays anymore. Those places, those pawn shops don't want that shit. They won't take it. They won't. So no, the 360 and the PS3, I'm gonna lump the PS3 in there as well. They are not going up in price. Even the Nintendo Wii is suffered the same fate. The games are dirt cheap on the Wii. It's just if you want those top tier games, they're expensive. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. Okay? Punch Out on the Wii has been like $40 to $50 for the last 10 years in Canada. So don't give me this bullshit that Xbox 360 games are going up in price. That is bullshit. Because the average consumer out there that actually still plays their Xbox 360 more than likely isn't watching our channels on YouTube. They don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. Same goes for the pawn shop, and same goes for the thrift store. Will 360 games eventually someday creep up in price? Maybe 20 years from now, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Especially when you're dealing with disc-based consoles. Especially when you're dealing with the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. Those games were mass-produced. Those were popular consoles. I think the 360 was more popular than the PS3, if I'm being honest. I could see the PS3 creeping up. It has been. The PS3 has been, at least as far as my observations are concerned, when I'm shopping out in the wild, the PS3 games are always a little bit more expensive than the Xbox 360. But, I bought my games way back in the day. Like, we're talking between 2013 and probably maybe 2 to 3 years ago. I slowed down on the 360, but I picked all my games up when they were super, super dirt cheap and easy to find. So the only problem with the 360 is you might have difficulty finding some of the titles out there as people start to snatch them up. There's going to be a little bit more of a scarcity. It's a false scarcity. Okay? It's kind of like the Super Nintendo. Those games are not rare. It's just rare to see them out in the wild because you have people like John Hancock that shelf warm them. They put them in boxes and they put them up on a shelf, never to be played again, with high hopes that they can have an early retirement. So, yeah, Xbox 360 games, are they creeping up in price? Like, define creeping up in price. Like, even if you had to pay $30 for an Xbox 360 game, that's really, in the grand scheme of things, not that expensive. The other game that I wanted to mention here, give a quick shout out to, is the Saw game that was released on the 360 and the PS3. That's a game that will cost you $100, and that's not necessarily anything to do with the 360 or the PS3. That has to do with the fact that survival horror games are red hot right now as far as the secondary market is concerned. You go to any boutique retro video game store, and you'll notice all the survival horror games are put in a glass cabinet. They are, because back in the day when I picked up this game here, it's not even that good of a game, to be honest with you. It's not bad. It's not that good. The biggest selling point of this game, what am I trying to say here? Selling feature of this game is you can unlock Splatterhouse 1, 2, and 3, the original games. But for this game to be like $100 Canadian, I don't know about that. It wasn't too long ago you could get this game for $5. So, yeah, don't believe what you're hearing out there. Okay, guys, these retro gaming YouTubers have nothing to talk about. They're creating a false narrative, weak and desperate for clicks and views. They so desperately want to get an AdSense payout so they can buy a 12-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon. And they're not really telling the truth. They're feeding you guys a line of BS. Xbox 360 games, folks, are not expensive, and they probably never will be. Okay, so that's going to do it for today's rant. Thank God I picked up those 360 games when I did. Love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.